97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umar Rusanda Amadu. Tonight, I'm here with
Akosia Oche.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, doctors at Ghana's second biggest hospital, that is Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi, leave the consulting rooms over accommodation issues that are affecting their colleagues. The patients are stranded. Also coming up, as the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, faces a barrage of attacks from the public over power challenges, the company has another agenda, which is to disconnect 91 hospitals that are in. But the Health Ministry has opened a line of communication with the utility service provider. We'll be understanding what exactly the situation is and the solution would be. And later, on Eyewitness News, Parliament summons the Minister for Transport, Kweku Ofori-Asma, to appear before the House on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, not next week, I beg your pardon, over allegations that the Ghana Airports Company is charging as much as $20 on passengers who are traveling using the international airport. Still with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
government admits energy sector challenges in the wake of recent power cuts.
That's in 50 minutes from the Eyewitness News City Business Desk. Stay with us for more on that in 50 minutes. The show is live across Ghana on a host of affiliate stations, including in the Northeast region on Nobia 98.1 FM in Nalerigu, on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu, in the Northern region on Radio Gaki 88.3 FM in Saboba, in the Volta region on Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe, Freedom 88.1 FM in Sugakopa. In the Ashanti region, we're on Adwinpa 99.9 FM in Nkawie. In Bono region, we're on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Western region, we are on Adwinpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady, and Sky Power 93.5 FM also in Takrady. We are live on CityTube, that's on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We are interactive. We are on citynewsroom.com. If you want to send a message to the show, 0549 986 996. That's the WhatsApp number, 0549 986 996. Alternatively, you can send messages using the hashtag CityNewsroom. That's on Twitter, now known as X. You can send me a message using @Umarusanda. That's my handle, or @City973. We settle for details of our stories, and the first one has to do with the doctors at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital who are not happy with some accommodation issues. Akosia has a story.
Now, the strike by doctors at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in the Ashanti region is taking a toll on healthcare delivery at the facility as patients are left stranded. All the doctors began the strike over accommodation concerns after dozens of their colleagues have been served notices to vacate their residencies. Patients visiting the facility this morning due to the evening are not being attended to, and this is getting them frustrated. Some of the stranded patients who came from outside the Ashanti region lamented the inconvenience caused by the strike.
I had an appointment today to meet the plastic surgeon. Unfortunately for me, when I came, it didn't come. I even heard the news this morning, so I decided to come and see that it was true. When I came, it's true. It didn't come today. So they have given another appointment to 3rd of next month. I tell you, I heard news this morning that where they are evacuating there from, but I don't know. They need me to hear if any emergency they can come here earlier. So you are vacating them from that place. So where the rest is supposed to go?
How has this affected you personally?
In fact, I was supposed to be at work this morning. I didn't go. I had an accident on Saturday night. They operated me and asked me to come here. They referred me to the plastic surgery. I came here Monday. I booked an appointment today. They said I should come and see them today, but unfortunately when I came, they didn't come.
I want someone to say the doctor's cost like.
The intern of my medjum, cause like Omunya Babina. Into a more medjum. Free, I am free.
I came from I Am Free in Upper Dentra West. I got here and I was informed that the doctors are on strike because of accommodation issues. My brother is seriously ill and needs medical attention. What will I tell family members if we return without attention?
When the condition one wound run for a man, and into Nama Yanyao, so lolly fed and
You heard from some frustrated patients who visited the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital today.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's go to the hospital now. Kwame Frimpong is a public relations officer of the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. He's joined us on the line. Mr. Frimpong, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thanks for having me, sir.
What's the situation with your doctors as we speak?
Well, we've had a very fruitful meeting with them, together with the officials from the Lands Commission, representatives of the developers, and virtually, I can tell you that all their concerns have been addressed. The leadership of the Confederation Doctors Association has promised to meet their members, and that God willing, we are hoping that they will resume work fully by tomorrow.
The issue we are told had to do with accommodation. What is the arrangement with doctors at your hospital? Do you provide them with accommodation? What went wrong?
Well, the doctors, like most senior staff, as and when accommodation units are available, they are allocated some of them. In this particular instance, they all live around the Denyami enclave, and that place is undergoing redevelopment. And the arrangement was that all government workers who were staying there would be given alternative accommodation for the developers to take over to commence the redevelopment works. Unfortunately, it appears that some signs of the developers have been resort to some unorthodox means to get some of the doctors to move, and it's like this week triggered the reaction of the doctors. Those concerns were brought to the attention of the Regional Coordinating Council and the Lands Commission, and the necessary steps have been taken to ensure that such unorthodox practices were not deployed against them again. They have also been given assurance that no doctor or government worker will be pushed out of his or her residence. The kind of alternatives have been being made to accommodate that person. And this, together with other assurances, I'm very sure were received by the doctors. And feedback we got from them was that they will go back, meet their members.
Who owns the accommodation facility that Mr. Fremont, who owns the accommodation facility that the doctors were occupying? Is it
all government bank?
So okay, if it's for government, who was asking them or who was evicting them?
Well, that land has been returned to Malaysia, so the ownership status has changed. And
explain that, please. What do you mean by the land has been returned to Malaysia and the status has changed?
At first, it was more or less like government land upon which the bungalows were built. And we are told that ownership status has changed to Malaysia. The government has given the land back to Malaysia. And so the redevelopment was part of the arrangements that are taking place as a result of the change in the ownership status of the land.
Okay, so Malaysia has collected the land, which means that the land was now sold to private individuals, which means then that the property on which the doctors were ceased to be state property, and for that matter, the private owners were then evicting the doctors. Is that what happened?
All that I know is that the ownership status has reverted to Malaysia, and some redevelopment were going on the land, and that there is an arrangement, a package under which government workers staying on that or in that enclave will be given alternative accommodation for them to relocate.
Now, when you say that the land has reverted to Malaysia, Malaysia can choose to do with it as it wishes, and the information we are picking up is that it's been sold to private developers who are deciding to use it. What that means is that the doctors who are there currently ought to move, and that's why they are being evicted by this private developer.
Is it your narration or you want a confirmation from me?
I want a confirmation from you.
I'm not privy to the arrangements under which the private developers came to be in charge of the redevelopment of the area, so I cannot answer that. All that I know is that we were notified some time back at the Regional Community Council that due to some development, the land ownership has been reverted back to Menchia, and that there was going to be a program of redevelopment, and that under that arrangement, all government workers who are saying they will be given alternative accommodation units, and so we should hold ourselves in readiness for the relocation. That has been on the drawing board for a while. What has triggered this reaction from our doctors was the unorthodox manner in which some are signs of, we believe the developers were trying to force some of them off by disconnecting their lives, their water, and other unusual threats. So those were the concerns that the doctors raised. And fortunately, as I indicated, this afternoon, we had a very fruitful meeting, and there's a general.
Mr. Frimpong, can you hear me?
To meet the particular group to let them know the arrangement that has gone on so far.
Okay.
Hopefully that will help.
Can you hear me? When the Regional Coordinating Council told you that the land had reverted to Menchia, which means the land ceased to be yours, and when I say yours, I mean the hospital, were you also given an alternative place to send these doctors to by the Regional Coordinating Council?
The Regional Coordinating Council clearly told us that alternative arrangements would be made, and that as and when it was time for them to move the doctors, those accommodation units will be provided. The recent agitations, as I indicated, were triggered by some assigns of the developers, not the Regional Coordinating Council. So, to the best of our knowledge, whoever might have approached the doctors to vacate those lands, those accommodation bungalows, were not from Regional Coordinating Council or the Lands Commission. Okay. And that is why we needed to complain to the RCC and the Regional Lands Commission officers, who today came with reps of the developers and clearly established the guidelines as to how the whole relocation is going to be done. And so that we have broad agreements as far as those arrangements are concerned.
So what this means is that the initial plan to evict them by the people who were doing so has ceased forthwith, and that there's a new plan of action. Is that what I should understand you to mean?
The plan has always been there. Some people were trying to expedite that plan unofficially. From what
were they acting with illegal backing? Did they say to you whether they had any court documents backing the action?
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Frimpong, these people who were evicting the doctors, did they say to the doctors or to yourselves that they had any legal backing to the action, and whether or not they had a court order, for instance, to do what they were doing?
Not that I know of. Maybe they might have told somebody to that effect, but not that I'm aware of.
Were they at the meeting today, these private developers who were evicting the doctors?
Some, their reps were supposed to be part of the meeting.
Supposed to, which means they did not come?
No, because, the Land Commission is the department that is coordinating all this arrangement. And so when we were rearranging this meeting, we requested that their rep be brought to the meeting. If their rep was not there, the assumption is that the Land Commission was the Land Commission that
Mr. Frimpong, can you hear me? Yeah, I seem to be losing you. Just a few things so that you can take leave of us. The doctors who were being evicted, some of them have been evicted already. What's the decision? Are they going to come back to these properties while you continue with your discussions, or they would remain out? And what happens to those who are currently in?
Well, as far as our staff were concerned, we are. I don't think that they've left the bungalows. They are all there. It is only one that we are told has vacated his bungalow.
Vacated or was evicted out of their bungalow?
It's only one that you know of.
Okay. Now, so it means that everybody stays. Those who have not left are allowed to stay. There's no threat, no plan to evict them.
There is a relocation plan.
Yes, but immediately, what I mean is that immediately they are not going to be forced out, right?
Unless the alternative accommodation is ready. Other than that, they stay put.
How soon before this alternative accommodation becomes ready?
We are not in charge of that. It's the responsibility of the Lands Commission, the RCC. As and when those arrangements have been made, then the relocation will be effected.
But you ought to be interested because these are your service providers.
That doesn't mean that you are in charge of effecting that plan.
Fine, but do you at least know what the plan is? Where is the new place that the doctors are moving to? Have you been told?
Yes, you've been told.
Where?
Most of them are under. They are around the Nyame Inshaisu area. Most of them, we are told, are still under construction, and that is why there is an agreement to rent private apartments for them for 2 years. By the time, the expectation is that these apartments will have been completed for them.
So the current plan you left the meeting with is that you're going to rent temporary accommodation for them while you work on building permanent accommodation for them.
We are not in charge of renting, and we're not in charge of building any accommodation. It's the RCC. As and when they are ready, they will contact us, and then we will start the process of relocation.
That's not my point. My point is that the decision is that alternative accommodation or temporary accommodation will be rented for these doctors, regardless of who will do the renting, and that would be done pending the completion of the main accommodation. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. Are you sure that these people who gave you this assurance, the Lands Commission, would honor this pledge? Because if they fail, Lands Commission will not be affected. You will be affected.
We are all in that enclave with them. The regional engineer of PWD, who is part of the redevelopment committee, and all the other government officials. That's where they are staying.
Okay.
So everybody will be affected.
At the meeting you had today, you were there, obviously. Lands Commission was there. You said the private people were supposed to have been there, but they were not there. Was Menchia Palace represented at this meeting?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Which means they did not come.
Were they supposed to be there?
Just out of interest, because it's their land that we are discussing here. The people who continue to remain on that land are remaining there. Which land belongs to them? They ought to be at the meeting, don't you think?
I don't think so.
That's fine. Next question, before we leave. Were the doctors themselves represented at this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Did they agree with this decision of yours?
That's the impression we got.
Have they said anything in relation to the strike that they embarked on subsequent to this, your meeting?
The decision is out of their hand, and that's why they told us that they are going to get back to their membership, and that by tomorrow morning we will hear from them.
Which means the strike is still in full force. You're not certain whether they'll be back to the consulting rooms tomorrow or not.
We are confident that they'll resume work tomorrow, given the preliminary feedback we got.
All right. We report that over 20 doctors were affected. Is that the number you are working with, or more than that, or less than that?
And I've told you the leadership of the hospital, most of them, that's where they stay. So we have a director of administration, director of HR, director for general services, director for procurement. That's where it's an enclave for senior staff, and then the doctors by their training qualification generally constitute part of the senior staff. So we are talking in the region of almost 50 staff members.
Do you live in that enclave yourself?
No.
Do you not worry that following the doctors, the administrators may also go on strike over this issue because they would also be affected, obviously?
I've told you the issues have been resolved, the assurances have been given, and we have no reason to believe that this is going to persist.
Very well. Thank you so much. We'll speak to the doctors to see if this decision of yours they agree with. But thank you so much for speaking to us tonight. That's Kwame Frimpong. He is a public relations officer of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, speaking to us there about the strike by doctors over accommodation challenges. Now, Dr. Michael Leet is the chairman of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital Doctors Association. He has been speaking to journalists about the challenges they are going through. Let's listen to him.
And yes, we met management and stakeholders from the Lands Commission and then one of the developers. we had a good discussion. There's a roadmap. To say we've stopped looking for accommodation, that one can't come from myself alone. I have to go back to my people, tell them what the discussion we had, which to me was good, and whatever decision we take, we will let the public know. As for the details of how they are going to do it, management will be in the better position to give you what we discussed and how they are going to go about it. The executives met management and the stakeholders. We can't take the decision for our group. We need to go back to the group, tell them or inform them what we discussed, and they tell us the way forward, what we have to. But all in all, it was a good discussion, and I don't think doctors will want to, once what we are looking for looks to be way sorted out, why not? But the decision to stop looking for the accommodation, not striking, depends on our General Assembly. That is the doctors in the hospital to decide.
So that's Dr. Michael Leet. He's chairman of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital Doctors Association. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We have more coming your way. Please stay with us.
Eyewitnesses, be there as it happens.
KB, aka Kube Boga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Oh, wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, because hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ghana Grows, Hope Day, and the of the Master Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
You know, Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how's your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that. Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry, Chairman Mane. Quartz, keep your engine younger for longer.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. I'm here with Akosia Ochi, who is bringing us our next story, which story borders on our power sector. Akosia.
The National Task Force of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has issued a 3-day demand notice to the management of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, known as a Rich Hospital, to settle a 42 million cedis debt accrued over a 1-year period. Well, according to ECG, failure to comply with the demand notice will result in negative consequences for the hospital. In a discussion with ECG officials, management of Rich Hospital clarified that they are not responsible for bill payments. Instead, they believe that the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health should handle such payments. Here's a member of the ECG National Task Force, Stephen Labi, speaking on the matter.
It is in our record that 2 of your accounts is indebted. So we are here on 2 missions to inquire if there has been any payment which has been done that you don't have record of. Then we will briefly do a reconciliation and then get the balance, and then we put it on the demand notice, and then we'll deliver it for you. When you receive, then you will get a copy of the demand notice and then return it for our reporting. So basically, that's our mission here.
Stephen Labi is a member of the National Task Force of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Meanwhile, the hospital officials, who won't speak on record but hold the view that the cost will be transferred to consumers if government decides that the hospital should pay its utilities.
Indeed, and Fred Duho of the Citi Newsroom went to the Ministry of Health to speak to the PRO of the ministry, Isaac Ban-Ofer, on this particular issue. This is the interview. Let's listen.
Supervise all these agencies of ours. So you have Kolebu, an agency on its own. You have Kofanochi, an agency on its own, and Rich, an agency or an institution under Ghana Health Service, which is also a separate agency. So what we do is to coordinate them and see to their day-to-day activities to ensure smooth operations and successful management. Now, we were faced with this challenge of huge or outstanding debt owed Electricity Company of Ghana. There have been a number of negotiations between the Ministry of Health and Electricity Company of Ghana, not only Electricity Company of Ghana, but VRA as well. You know, VRA control the northern part of these countries as far as the supply of electricity is concerned. And so we were hopeful that we would be able to have settled this debt before they served this notice to us. Unfortunately, we were not able to meet that target, not because we've not done anything at all about it. A lot of things has been done. The kind of requirement that ECG demanded, or at the meeting, what we agreed on, as a ministry, we've done our part, we've done what we are supposed to do. We are only waiting for onward disbursement of that fund to Electricity Company of Ghana.
If you say you've done your part as a ministry, what exactly did you do?
Yeah, like I said, you have all these agencies having their own regulations. So you have Kofanochi Teaching Hospital. It's an entity on its own, just that its work is under the Ministry of Health.
By that, saying they are an institution on themselves,
yeah.
Basically, what are you implying? Like, they need to take responsibility for their own electricity bill, water bill. What do you mean by their institutions on themselves?
You see, when you take Kofanochi Teaching Hospital and you take Kolebu Teaching Hospital, these are institutions, they are agencies that are being managed by a governing board. In as much as we supervise their operations and all that, we have some limitations or gap between the way we run the day-to-day activities of such institutions, because they have their own management board.
So with specific mention of utilities like electricity, who is responsible in these teaching hospitals?
With regards to electricity usage and then the payment of electricity, there is an agreement between these institutions and Electricity Company of Ghana as to how payment is supposed to be made or done as and when this arises. We are coming in as a ministry because we own them. They are for us. And whatever problem that comes out as a result of management, it's borne on the ministry. So we made a step. We engaged Electricity Company of Ghana. They've made a proposal to us. We follow such procedure. Just that we were not fast enough to have avoided today. And we were served with this demand notice. We are pressing hard to ensure that before the timeline ends, we would be able to clear whatever outstanding debt that we owe them so that we avoid this disconnection.
Well, that will be for the teaching hospitals. I understand that aspect. Now, the health institutions that are directly under you and not autonomous, what about them?
We don't have any health institution under the ministry. They are under Ghana Health Service, which is also an agency as compared to Kofanachi Teaching Hospital and Kolebu Teaching Hospital. All the regional hospitals are under Ghana Health Service. So they operate in the same way as the teaching hospitals operate. And these have their regulations or management system that they all work on. And so as and when the ministry is supposed to come in, we come in. We are talking about utility bills that comes on monthly. We may have access to it, or annually we may get some kind of information about that. But being it as it may, we are owing the Electricity Company of Ghana. We are negotiating to clear the debt so that we are not being disconnected. Because we can't wait for this disconnection to come out. We are trying to avoid this situation, and this will never happen, not by my authority, but we ensure that whatever ECG expected of us, we'll meet them, and then we would take it out from there. Already there have been a number of negotiations, there have been a number of meetings that we are putting our heads across, and we hope by tomorrow morning we will be able to come up with some good news.
So that's some concrete assurance that by tomorrow morning, because ECG has given 3 days ultimatum,
yes,
that in effect, when they do not see anything concrete on the part of these health institutions, they will take that step, basically disconnect them, and that will be some dire consequences for health institutions in the country as far as patients seeking health is concerned. Now, you said you've advanced in terms of negotiations. When you feel an ECG proceeds, would you blame the ECG for that? Because they equally need money to sustain their operations.
Well, I wouldn't say that we fail, because we can't say that we have failed. We have the same system running together for the same master. And the master is to serve the people. And we are talking about health here. We've been with them. The ECG has been good to us, and we have also been good to them. And so I don't see where, as a ministry, we will fail to dishonor payment to Electricity Company of Ghana. It's a situation that has come beyond us, and that is why we are now negotiating with them to ensure that we clear those debts. We know that looking at the situation, and one thing is that you can't take Kolebu and say that Kolebu can be managed with a concrete budget. It's always budget overrun, because you can't predict the number of emergencies that may come to Kolebu today. Even though it's in Accra, we have a patient coming from all over the country. Some even come from the neighboring countries, where a specialist that is supposed to take care of a particular sickness in another teaching hospital is not available, that there is a need for the patient to be transported to another teaching hospital where we have a specialist available. So sometimes it's very difficult to say that you are going to talk about their management system and all that. But then, we owe Electricity Company of Ghana. We serve Electricity Company of Ghana. Electricity Company of Ghana demands their money, that we should pay them, for them to avoid disconnection. We sit down at the table, we are negotiating, and we hope that by the time we get to tomorrow, we would be able to meet ECG and solve this problem with them.
So far, 91 hospitals listed on, the list I've seen so far, and a total sum of 261 million Ghana cedis. Do you have the resources to pay them outright?
Yeah, that is why I said we're going to a negotiation table. Now, there is going to be another form of reconciliation to look at the total debt owed, whether it's feasible or we have some miscarriage in there. But then, whichever way, and grant that this is the total amount that we owe Electricity Company of Ghana, we are going to negotiate with them. Even if we cannot get all the amount to pay, and we are able to pay something reasonable, or we are able to give some form of assurance that they will be able to rely on. This is government-to-government thing we are talking about. There are services that ECG will need from us, and there are services that we will need from them. So can we come back and sit down and negotiate? Let me scratch you. When we finish with all of this, you will realize that we will be able to take care of some of these things without even we knowing. Grant that this demand notice had not come out, we wouldn't even know that we owe Electricity Company of Ghana.
It's been over 1 year. Some of the hospitals owe ECG. For instance, at Ridge Hospital today, their bill accrued for 1 year, 3 months.
Yes.
And you mean the ministry is not aware?
I'm not saying that the ministry is not aware. What I'm saying is that, grant that this demand notice, are you getting it, had not come out, then it means that it wouldn't have been in the public domain. However, the number of negotiations that we've taken or we've gone through or we've done with the Electricity Company of Ghana is another thing that has been with us. So that one is not in the public domain. We've started these negotiations somewhere last year, moving on to early part of this year. Before today we got here. So we believe that it is the demand notice that has brought us to this limelight. We will further press on the negotiations and meet ECG, and we will be able to take it up from there. Not that we are not aware that we owe Electricity Company of Ghana. We are aware. Not that we've not done anything at all about it. We've done a lot of negotiations about that. We've met ECG, not only Electricity Company of Ghana, like I said earlier. You have VRA as well, which is taking care of the Sunyani Teaching Hospital and that enclave to the northern region. So it's not something like we are trying to avoid debt or we are saying that we are not owing. You have the 37 military hospital as part of it. Some of these hospitals, they are not under Electricity Company, they are not under Ministry of Health, they are under Ministry of Defense. But then this debt owed, this is what we need to pay so ECG can be sustained. And we need to have this money paid in order to sustain our health system.
Will ECG be justified if they proceed to, in effect, take off any of these health institutions from the national grid if indeed the time comes and the promises you've made to them, you've not been able to redeem them? Would they be justified in their actions?
I can't say, I may not be in the position to justify that. I may not be in the position to declare whether to disconnect or not to disconnect. But we must also take into consideration the lifestyle. You and I, as we sit here, we don't know where the theater that we might be in there. We might be at Kolebu now, being pushed in a wheel to a theater for an operation. Just like the management, any of the management members of Electricity Company of Ghana. So these health issues we're talking about. In as much as we may be fair or we may be right or we have point or issues, there are certain things that I think that we should put them into consideration because it's health issues. As we speak, we have people at the mosques who are there and family members are relying or preparing as to when to come and take all those people. These are the things we need to consider. And I believe that serious decisions are being taken regarding this issue. And I can bet you it's a serious issue that management is working tirelessly to ensure that we avoid such disconnection.
Maybe lastly, would you say that the amount involved with some of the hospitals are mismanaging power?
We cannot say that, except that we have some form of evidence to prove that there is some form of mismanagement. But being it at its may, you look at their monthly regulations, their monthly consumptions, and you realize that it's feasible or it's not feasible. And depending on what happens, when you take Kolebu like this, you can't predict the number of patients that comes there a day. So you may decide that today, let me put electricity consumption to maybe 10,000 or 200,000 for a day. And you realize that the consumption rather goes up because of the number of patients that comes in. So coming to say that misuse of power or mismanagement of electricity is another thing that will have to come with the proof. And as we sit here, we may not be in the position to assess that for now. The issue is that we owe Electricity Company of Ghana. The honest issue is that we need electricity to manage the health facilities. And we also need the money to keep electricity growing. That is what government is insisting on, planning to ensure that we don't get involved in such situation.
So as you sit here now, can you tell if you received some money aside the negotiations that, okay, hopefully by tomorrow or the third day as ECG has given, you would raise that amount of money to settle all these bills?
It will not be in my position to say that we've received money or we've not received money. When I say we've received money, we are going to pay. If we've not received money, we are going to negotiate. Whichever way, what we want to do is that we clear the debt and then we sustain Electricity Company of Ghana to avoid disconnection so that we are able to sustain our health system. We can't be talking about universal health coverage when we don't have electricity sustainability.
Thank you very much.
There are a lot of plans that we have put in place. And we look forward to avoid such crises going forward.
So here the PRO of the Ministry of Health, Isaac Ban-Ofer, speaking to Citi News' Fred Duho on the issues that are affecting the health institutions, with the ECG warning that is going to disconnect some 91 health facilities which are indebted to the power supply company. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. When we come back, we'll talk about the airport company. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? It's Rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so have your engine now. It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to and you feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that. Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panzapa. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry, Chairman Mane. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Telecel is here!
Telecel, connecting energies.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let me bring some of your messages. Daniel Akpaliok sends a message from Sandema, and he says the economic crisis have now aggravated into power challenges. Management of ECG has a responsibility to explain to Ghanaians about the genesis of the power crisis and how it can be addressed. These power crises we are facing today as a result of incompetence, mismanagement, and misplaced priorities on the part of the government. If you engage in needless propaganda and empty slogans to win power, doom so and the exchange rate will expose you. Akapog Jr. from Ahavomim said the government must intervene in the accommodation problem of doctors at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital in order to avert losses of precious lives at the facility. Amisko Spelele in Kaswa Republic says, we plead with doctors of CAF to exercise patience and go back to save lives, since I'm very optimistic that government will meet their accommodation expectations. Well, we're here to hear from the doctors as to whether they are satisfied with the position that's been taken by the hospital. The hospital, though, sounds very optimistic and positive that things have gone well following the meeting this afternoon. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's talk about the airport company now, shall we?
Yes, Parliament has summoned the Minister for Transport, Kweku Ofori-Esiama, to appear before the House on Tuesday, March 19, over unlawful charges by the Ghana Airports Company Limited. All this follows concerns raised by the Minority Caucus over the introduction of a $20 maintenance charge on all-round airline trips by the company and a $10 charge for one-way airline trips effective May 2024. Let's hear excerpts of proceedings in the House in relation to this matter.
Speaker, I'm holding in my hand here letter dated 11th March 2024 from the Ghana Airports Company introducing maintenance charges of $10 to be charged and $20 maintenance charge on all round trip airlines. Mr. Speaker, is of urgent public importance because what authority does the Ghana Airport Company have to impose fees and charges? And is this charges consistent with the fees and charges act approved by the Parliament of Ghana? So, Mr. Speaker, I've seen a letter Ghana Airports Company signed Yvonne Nana Afriye of Mrs. Managing Director. And Mr. Speaker, I read it for a record further to discussions with the executives of Airport Operations Committee, AOC, regarding our baggage belt overhauling and maintenance issue, the Board of Directors of Ghana Airports Company, in consultation with Ministry of Transport, institutes maintenance charges of $20 on all-round airline trips and $12. But Speaker, that will be cost to Ghanaian travelers from abroad to Ghana.
With regards to this particular issue, directing the Minister for Transport to appear before the House on the 19th, that is next week, Tuesday, to come and address this particular issue, because the airport company cannot sit by themselves and say they are increasing charges, fees and charges on their own. So this is my directive. Please let's keep it out. 19th, the Minister for Transport should appear before the House to respond to these issues.
You had excerpts of a proceeding from Parliament directing the roads minister, the Minister for Transport rather, to appear before the House. Away from that, government has attributed the delay in the resettlement scheme for communities affected by tidal waves in the Ketu South constituency to land litigation, mobilization of financial resources, among other factors. Our government allocated 2 million Ghana cedis for the construction of 15 two-bedroom apartments to resettle some victims displaced by tidal waves following the flooding in the Ketu South area. Although Volta Regional Minister Dr. Archibald Lecha had earlier stated that the first batch of 150 victims would be relocated to the apartments by the end of the second quarter of 2023. But answering questions in Parliament, the region ensured that the project would be completed as soon as possible to alleviate the plight of affected dwellers.
There have been delays in the execution of this project, and I gave some reasons like land litigation, the prolonged rainfall in the area, the flooding that occurred in the area, and also the mobilization of financial resources. So I can promise that we're going to complete the 10 units very soon, and the 5 also will be completed, and many other units will also start, because the Ministry of Works and Housing is also making efforts to provide some of the units to the K2 Staff Municipal Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That was the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha. Now, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, says it will seek legal redress over the encroachment of its Pokwase Amatsaman research sites following the expiration of a 21-day ultimatum it gave government to cease ongoing encroachment activities on the land. Well, in 2019, the Institute lost a portion of its 400-acre land to the government for the construction of an affordable housing project. Speaking to City News, the chairman of the CSIR union, Michael Amujesi, said recent activities on the land by a private developer is said to have the backing of the state, and this has compelled his outfit to consider legal means of securing its property.
I have contacted my management, and they've informed me on authority that nobody from the government side has contacted them on the issue. So we are in a quagmire, and we intend to take these actions to make sure we get our lands back. So that is the actions on the board now. We have planned peaceful and lawful demonstrations to court public sympathy, to draw public attention to our plight, and subsequently seek legal redress at the local. And it is now at the planning stage. But these two actions are lawful in trying to redeem yourself in an illegality in the country. So that is what we want to do as the union chairman. We are in concert with management on that idea for the tacit approval for us to do the actions that we plan to undertake. Because we need to seek police protection, and we need to notify them at least for 5 clear days before we do that. Because the government is adamant, we will not do anything. If not doing anything, nobody has contacted us. So if you don't take any action, I think we will be the loser. So that is why we want to take those actions as well.
Michael Amujesi is the chairman of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR union. Now, the coalition of law associations is debunking claims by the Ghana Armed Forces that there are ongoing discussions by a committee set up by the Lands Ministry to deliberate and resolve a land dispute between the military and the La Traditional Council. All this follows a statement from the military indicating ongoing deliberations and the lack of directives to release the disputed lands. But the association asserts that a conclusive decision has already been reached. And in light of these developments, the spokesperson for the association, Jeffrey Tete, says he is baffled at the military's sudden change of stance on the matter.
We realized that the issues that the military put out there were false information, and that it wasn't true that there was still an ongoing process, but that at that time, the process had concluded. The people of La had been given their portion of the land. The military, together with the traditional authorities, the land commission, and every stakeholder involved, had gone onto the land, and together, jointly, they have mounted pillars to demarcate which part of the land belongs to the La people and which one had been given to the military. There are prominent people within the Ghana Armed Forces who were part of the committee that did the work, based on which fact the land was released to the people of La. And so there's a signed list from government to the people of La, which the military is aware. So we don't understand why the military came out with that statement.
That was a spokesperson for the Coalition of La Associations, Jeffrey Tete. Now, government officials in the Ashanti region have revealed that work is progressing on Agenda 111 projects in the Ashanti region, despite challenges encountered in some districts. The Ashanti region is benefiting from a total of 16 Agenda 111 projects in selected districts, but challenges with land acquisition for the Kumasi metropolis and the Asokore Mampong projects are threatening the completion deadline. The consultant on site for the Oforiku and Asokore Mampong projects, Bernard Oseimbonsu, says the project is at various stages of completion.
Basically, we are left roughly about 15% to complete. It's all the district hospitals were 1 year. We have 3 contractors on the site. We have Inshop, we have Syndicated Capital, and then Green Subjoy. Work is steadily ongoing. In fact, there's one of the sites where they had to change the design. It was due to the challenges and then the space we had. They had to do a compact design for the space to accommodate the hospital. So that is why it had delayed in commencing the works. But immediately we issued the commencement for them. That was about November. They've really worked, and they've worked hard, which we think they will continue. Yes. Percentage of work done so far is in the region of 20% on the general site.
Bernard Oseimbonsu is a consultant on site for the Oforiku and Asokore Mampong Agenda 111 projects in the Ashanti region. Well, the regional minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, for his part, said the Kumasi International Airport will begin operations in May, explaining why it was named after Otumfuo Agyeman Prempeh I.
Latest by May, we should be using the international airport. I think the president even mentioned it in his address of the State of the Nation, that by May, and then he's expecting that we should be able to commission the airport, and then it will be used as an international airport. There's a structure which historically we are told accommodated Otumfuo Agyeman Prempeh I. And we want to develop that one into a museum so that people who visit Kumasi as a first point of call can also visit the museum instead of demolishing it.
That was the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah. Well, the minister further assured that 6 of the Agenda 111 projects will be commissioned before the end of the year. Let's do some politics, because the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council has charged the Electoral Commission to be proactive with its communications. Well, this call was made after officials of the EC visited the council today. Well, the meeting, among other things discussed, was how to ensure a peaceful 2024 election. While addressing the press after the meeting, the chairman of the Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, Apostle Eric Nyamiche indicated that the commission ought to take charge of communicating decisions from IPAC and not to leave that to the political parties.
We think that the issue should always go ahead of the politicians. And so when they have an IPAC meeting for one, they should issue a communique. And so that one comes out and people know that this is what really happened, than for them to be reacting to what politicians are saying, like issues on the indelible ink for one. Not many Ghanaians actually understand the nitty-gritties of it. And so things like that, we want them to go out and then educate the date for the election and all that. They have to do the education as to preventing minors from voting and then registering and all that. We think that it's easy to do much more education, and we also will do our best as a council to support their work.
Voice of Apostle Eric Nyamiche, he's chairman of the Pentecostal and Charismatic Council. Meanwhile, the commission has reviewed that processes have begun to make sure the proposed reform for elections, including the change of voting date and non-use of indelible ink, is possible by 2028. Jane Mensah is chairperson of the Electoral Commission.
The parties did agree, and once we explained to them, they did come to the realization that indeed with the biometric registration, every individual is unique and cannot therefore be on the system more than once. But the feeling was that, well, let us, continue the education of the citizenry, and for this election we should continue to use the indelible ink. Ahead of the 2024 election, the EC was of the view that it was time to put in place and implement that reform. Again, this issue was discussed extensively at the IPAC and has been also discussed with stakeholders. And while all the stakeholders at the IPAC were of the view that this was an important reform, there was some division as to when to implement it. As a commission, we went back to the drawing board and we felt that, well, we should put it in place for 2028.
Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, Jane Mensah.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Citi Business News on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan. Make that big move and dream a reality. I am Akosia Oche. Let's settle for the details. Minister of State designate for the Finance Ministry, Abinose Asare, has emphasized the importance of the cash waterfall mechanism in ensuring transparency within the energy sector. While acknowledging the sector's challenges require immediate action, she stressed the need for the Electricity Company of Ghana to adopt a more aggressive approach to revenue mobilization. She was responding to questions when she was appearing before the Appointments Committee of Parliament.
A lot has been done in the energy space. First and foremost is the renegotiations that has brought the payments down, and also to make sure these monies that are raised are transparent enough. And so we introduced the cash waterfall mechanism where the monies are put in the same pot, and then certain criteria is used to disburse these monies. But Mr. Chairman, the issue is also that we need ECG to do the needful, collect its revenues as and when it is due. We need to support ECG collect their revenues in addition to the cash waterfall mechanism so that they have their monies, and then whatever is collected based on the formula that has been agreed, it can also be distributed to make sure they pay the needed things that they need to pay. Truly, we have quite some challenging issues in the energy space that we need to address. And as part of the reforms, we were to come up with an energy sector reform plan, and it's gone through the process. And all these issues have been looked at.
Minister of State designates for the Finance Ministry, Abena Osei Asare. Now, 50,000 Ghanaian youth stand to be trained under government's new employment module, the Ghana Apprenticeship Program, in a bid to address the pressing issue of joblessness and bolster the country's development. The initiative, supported by funding from the Government of Ghana, the World Bank, and the German government, aims to boost skills training and employment opportunities. Or the program prioritizes competency-based training to equip participants with the skills needed to thrive in today's job market. Delivering the keynote address at the launch, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said the program will bridge the gap between traditional apprenticeship systems and the evolving demands of modern employment.
The Ghana Apprenticeship Program emerges as a transformative initiative with funding from the Government of Ghana, the World Bank, and the German government through KfW Development Bank. The comprehensive program, this Ghana Apprenticeship Program, endeavors to support competency-based training apprenticeship for a total of 50,000 individuals through the implementation period. The primary goal of the Ghana Apprenticeship Program is to be the overarching program that provides apprenticeship training tailored to the demands of contemporary jobs, fostering a bridge between traditional apprenticeship systems and modern employment requirements.
You heard there the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Now, government has called for a collaborative effort to boost the consumption of locally made goods to drive economic growth. According to the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Otrebefi, the lack of confidence in locally made products has been a key challenge to the growth of industries. In his address to launch a locally manufactured margarine called Fortune Spread, and also to commission an ultra-modern factory owned by Wilmar Africa Limited, the minister highlighted the company's significant contribution to the Ghanaian market.
Today marks a significant milestone with the launch of Wilmar's margarine and spread under the brand name Fortune. This new product signifies the company's commitment to the Ghanaian market. We also celebrate the commissioning of the state-of-the-art production facility, reportedly the largest margarine factory in Ghana. This substantial investment by Wilmar underscores the long-term commitment to the country's industrial development. The government acknowledges the current challenges faced by businesses and remain dedicated to solving them. By one, restoring macroeconomic stability, which will positively impact the cost of doing business and ensure competitive returns on investment. Two, by supporting the industrial sector by collaborating with financial institutions to provide long-term financing for companies, enabling them to expand, modernize, and also secure good working capital.
Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Otrebefi. Now, the General Manager for Wilmar Africa Limited, Sean Yeo, stressed that its locally obtained raw materials used in the production of its margarine signifies the company's commitment to align with the domestic market.
Our operations is deeply rooted into Ghana itself. We are basically made in Ghana, for Ghana, majority of the products, and this is ensure our freshness, ensure our there's food safety. We ensure that it's tasty and ensure that it's all suited to our consumer needs and preferences as well. So that, I would say, is our unique selling point. So there might be a lot of margarine out in the market, like what we said in the speech earlier. A lot of the margarines are imported. So we are one of the few that is locally made. It's fresh. You can assure of our quality because you can see our state-of-the-art plant. And we also ensure, our production team always ensures that all our margarine and our spreads, like our tagline, is always on point, whether it's in quality or in taste. And so therefore, this is something that is, and of course, all our main raw material, which is oil, also a lot of them comes from our local palm plantations.
Sean Yeo is General Manager for Wilmar Africa Limited. Now, the recent visa waiver agreement between Ghana and South Africa has led to a significant increase in air travels between the two countries. The move has also increased the trade volumes between Ghana and South Africa as well. The agreement, which was signed in November 2023, will allow both nationals stay in the host country for 90 days. Speaking at a meeting at the second session of the Binational Committee meeting in Johannesburg, South Africa, President Akufo-Addo said this has deepened Ghana's relations with South Africa.
The profound significance of our partnership and the boundless potential it holds for our two nations and people. Our current deliberations mark yet another chapter in our shared commitment towards nurturing a relationship built on trust, cooperation, and mutual respect. Under the binational committee arrangements, the two countries have also eliminated the visa barriers through the visa waiver agreement, which came into effect on the 1st of November 2023, to enhance people-to-people engagement between the two countries for business as well as tourism. And like you, Mr. President, I'm impressed by the increase in the number of exchanges that are taking place between our two countries.
President Akufo-Addo speaking there, wrapping up today's edition of Citi Business News and Eyewitness News. It was brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make big move and dream a reality. My name is Akosia Otre. Do stay with us. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, that be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Cry. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
There are some classy celebrations that calls for whipping out your favorite China sets. Same goes for your luxury vehicle. Just any engine oil won't do. Premium understands premium best. The new Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP with carbon neutral properties is the one for your premium car. It's a fully synthetic motor oil designed using the Shell Pure Plus technology. Prevents dirt buildup with exceptional cleaning power, leaving your pistons cleaner than a whistle up to 50% more than the industry standard and gives you stronger, long-lasting engine performance. So, if you want your classic car to run smoothly like a Ferrari for years to come, use the Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP with carbon neutral properties. Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP, designed for ultimate engine performance.
KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Wow! KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, because hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ejuma Wokrom, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, Telecel is here!
Telecel, connecting energies. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru Sandawa. Tonight on Point Blank, the government has launched the second edition of the Planting for Food and Jobs. There's a new minister for Agric, you do know that. After Dr. Friye resigned to go and run for flag bearership, that failed attempt to be flag bearer of the MPP. The Betifi Member of Parliament, Dr. Brian Champon, was named Minister for Agriculture. His new task is to ensure we have food in abundance. Today, he was on the City Breakfast Show with Bernard Kokwavle and spoke about the measures he's been putting in place since he joined the ministry as a sector head, and also talking about what Ghanaians need or what you need to take part in the PFJ too. Let's listen to that interview.
We have handed over 10,000 hectares of land for 3 irrigation schemes worth almost 2.9 billion Ghana cedis. The largest single irrigation scheme in one fell swoop, and that has been done in the last 10 months. Everybody thought it wasn't possible. We have been able to do it. We talked about poultry resuscitation. You see the numbers. We are consuming 15,000. We are consuming 324,000 plus metric tons. We are producing about 15,000 metric tons, 5% self-sufficiency. In the budget of 2024, you saw that I pushed to renovate and rehabilitate 300, let me put it this way, defunct poultry farms. We got a budget to give poultry farmers 18 million day-old chicks, vaccines, and feed. And this is to push our food self-sufficiency from 15,000 metric tons to about 42,000 metric tons in this year. On a trajectory.
So where are we now with that?
Well, we're doing well.
The national demand is 324,000 metric tons. And when you took over, we were producing only 5% of what we eat. 2023 was 22.25.
Yeah, we had that target. We were not able to meet the 2023 target. And that was the only target in our commodities that we missed out, which was a poultry. Because by November, when we wanted to put in 4.5 million day-old chicks, we were able to just do about 2.5 million. I mean, that's why this Christmas you saw that the price of chicken was relatively stable and an influx of a lot of Ghanaian chicken. That was the effort that we put in. But this year, we will be able to move it from 15,000 to 42,000. Bernard, I wish that in one fell swoop, 2024, we can solve the poultry problem. It's just not possible. It's like building a house. You have to put one block on top of the other. All our poultry farmers, well, not all of them, but a majority of them are out of business, especially the small holder poultry farmers. Yeah. So we need to now help them rehabilitate their farms, help them with some grant day-old chicks, feed, and vaccines for them to come back up. And then
will that work without the import reduction? You remember your colleague Minister Katie Hammond was trying to do import restriction bill, which did not succeed. The points you're making about helping the producers may be good, but because the importers have such a large base and because they have so much money, they can still outprice the local producers. So my point is, the investment you're making in poultry notwithstanding, will that not require additional effort from trade to deal with the imports to really prop up the producers?
The solution is what we call infilling. The more you produce, you try and talk to the importers to now offtake from the producers in Ghana. I mean, look, I didn't really believe in that strategy of that was being proposed of just day one, dealing with the imports.
So you didn't support import restriction ab initio?
I mean, look, I like the idea. It's a very, very good one, but we are not there yet. I believe that we have to produce enough, and then whilst we produce, we reduce the importation. Look, on poultry, during the Christmas last year, all the production that we catalyzed to happen, we invited the importers to offtake from the poultry farm. That is why if you go to ShopRite and all those things, you saw Boris B chicken and other chicken made in Ghana. And so if we continue to put on that trajectory, push that agenda, and invite the importers to now off-take, they want to make money. And they want to make money from Ghana. The fact that they are importing is really not how they want to make money. They are business people and they want to make money. So if the poultry is in Ghana, because there's a high demand for chicken, 324,000 metric tons is what we require. So if they are big off-takers in Ghana, those who are importing will refocus.
But can you match the subsidies that the Americans, the Dutch, the Brazilian government give their producers, which allows them to export to Ghana at such a cheap rate?
If they are giving subsidies, we can also do at the same time.
Can you match their subsidies?
But I'm saying we may not be able to match their subsidies. They are America, they are Holland, we are Ghana. We may not be able to match their subsidies, but notwithstanding the subsidies that they are giving, if you look at the price of made in Ghana chicken, and if you look at the price of the chemical infused chicken, the price difference is not much, about 5 to 10. The
Ghanaian is more expensive.
Well, slightly, but about 10 cedis.
And for poor people, that's a lot.
But I'm saying it's about 10 cedis. But the medication that you have to buy for eating those imported chicken, because you know how they're grown. Okay, you see all those big chicken.
The size of the chicken.
The size of the chicken, and that's about 2 weeks that they use in producing that chicken. You know the chemicals that go through. You can't compare that.
So maybe you should have supported the import restriction on chicken in particular.
No, but I'm saying you have to, if you don't produce to infill, okay, you shoot the price up. So I support the principle. It is a timing.
All right, let's do rice. The rice level was 48 base self-sufficiency, where the national demand was around 1.4 million metric tons, and we're 48% self-sufficient. Your target was 706, so we wanted to get to probably about half. I don't know if you were able to do that for 2023. Your target for this year is 908. What is the indication with rice?
Well, rice we're doing very well. We're doing very, very well with rice. If you look at the current complaints that we're getting from farmers across the country, not just in the south, it tells you that we're doing well for rice. There were a lot of programs that were launched by the private sector input dealers, like a very good company like Yara. They did a 2-buy-2 get 1 free fertilizer. They were able to put in thousands of metric tons of inputs in the north. ETG company did the same with support from Rabobank. They were able to do that. We also, government on the SADEP side, were also able to put a lot of inputs. And now we have basically a glut of rice.
Local rice?
Yes. We have a glut. I mean, if you talk to farmers in the Yagaba, Kubori region, in eastern region, in western region, literally there's a glut of rice. It
As
is
in
not
rice that has not yet been milled.
Yes, paddy.
Paddy rice.
There's a glut of paddy rice. And they have a myriad of reasons why. I mean, they are not, the males...
Milling capacity is low.
Yes. And then, the males also don't have the financial capacity to buy the paddy and then store them. So farmers are really complaining. In fact, on that front, government has given us some funding to go and buy the paddy and store.
And mill it yourself or store it.
Store and then help the males mill it and then bring it back to buffer stock to give to our institutions. So that's what we're doing. And just not on rice, on maize too. There's a huge glut of maize up north. Farmers are...
But that's not really a glut, too. Just to be clear. A glut is when the thing is produced and it cannot be... It's more than we can consume.
No,
the paddy rice is there, but it hasn't been milled yet.
No, that's two things. I mean, but what about maize? There's a glut of maize. It means that the glut that I'm talking about, that it's stuck with the farmers. Okay, there's a lot of maize out there. And look, if you look at the prices of maize at the moment, it tells you that we have quite a lot of maize on the market.
Including maize for poultry feed.
I mean, yes, the maize is available.
Because I'm told the yellow maize is what they use for the poultry feed.
Because it's relatively cheaper by about 20 cedis and thereabouts. So every poultry farmer will prefer that. But there's indeed maize in the system, and that is why price of maize is not going up. And indeed, for the first time, you see that the price of kenke, which never happens, is actually going down.
No.
No.
We did a kenke. We read the kenke research. Kenke prices have consistently increased. The size has reduced. The price has increased from 2, 3 to 5.
You buy kenke from Kempinski and other places.
No. The guy did a research across the Greater Accra region. I even interviewed him. I've read the report.
We are on the ground. I have.
So what's the average ball of kenke price in Accra? It's about 4 cities.
The average is actually 3 cities because you can get kenke for 2 cities. No, I'm saying
even the cheapest place for kenke was Teshi, and Teshi you get kenke for 3.
Bernard,
no, we did this study.
But I'm saying I'm not here to argue about that. I can find you kenke for 2 cities.
I'm happy to eat it.
Okay, and I can get you kenke for 4 cities. I can get you kenke for 5
and
cities.
The size, what's the size of the 2 city ball?
But I'm saying we're talking about the average price of about 600 grams of kenke. Okay. And I'm saying that you can get that size depending on where you go. If you want boutique kenke, the price is different. If you want my Mile 7 kenke, the price is different. But kenke price is averaging about 3 cities, not 4 cities. But if you look at the price of maize, okay, kenke prices should have been
much lower.
But there are a myriad of factors that is causing that, and we intend to deal with it.
Let me just understand your rice strategy. You're saying that you are going to support the milling so that the rice that is locally produced will not just stay on the farm, but it will be milled and sent to buffer stock. That's your part of your rice strategy?
The rice with the farmers, we need to offtake the rice from our producers. If the private sector does not have the capacity to offtake, government needs to step in and offtake what is being produced. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, when you offtake, what do you do with it? First, you can now supply it to the mills and bring it back to market. Or if it is staying quite long, you can give it to buffer stock to now feed public institutions. And then you're going to get the money back anyway to go back and recycle that process.
Why doesn't government build the rice mills? Maybe for each major rice district, government produces a major mill that the rice farmers can then bring it and get it milled for them. Because I know rice farmers who have to travel sometimes 3 hours to get their rice milled before an off-taker will take it. Is that part of the consideration?
The consideration is not for government to build rice mills. You want to get government out of private sector functions. Okay, get government out. Support private sector people to build mills. It's not quite cheap to build a mill. Okay, so government strategy is to then support the private sector persons to build the mills. And that is exactly what we are trying to do. Okay, to look at some big, what we call them, machinery services providers, AMSECs. Okay, we're supporting a few of them to build the mills around the rice producing areas so that they can mill. Government cannot and should not be building a mill to mill rice for the population. But all in all, the strategy that we set out on planting for food and jobs, and the invitation that we gave to Ghanaians to follow us on a 5-year journey to food resilience, we are on track. We were able to meet our targets in 2023 on the 10 crops, except for poultry. In 2024, we are hell-bent on meeting those food targets. And when we have done that and followed the trajectory, in 5 years, Ghana will be food self-sufficient in 10 crops.
You said all your, so there's poultry, rice, maize, soya bean, sorghum, tomato, and then there's a couple more. You're saying apart from poultry, because I know that your target for, say, tomato, the national demand for tomato is 1.2 million metric tons. And as of 2022, our sufficiency was just 27%.
That's correct.
In 2023, we wanted to reach 405 metric tons. What was the production for 2023?
I think it was about 450,000 metric tons. Tomato, we did exceed our target for 2023. I mean, look, we did a lot of dry season tomato planting last year with the tomato queens, the market queens, those who go to Burkina and go and bring tomatoes. We invited them and we told them that, look, we want to join hands and do dry season tomato so that this time of the year, which is around February, March, April, where tomato prices skyrocket, okay, we are able to bring the tomato that is produced in Ghana, okay, to support the system. And that is why if you see the price of tomatoes, if you go on the market today, even though it has inched up, we're looking at about 1.3 to 2.2% increase compared to the 40% year increase that we experienced between the lean season and the bumper harvest.
And is this the tomato with the water or the preferred tomato? Because the other question has been the type of tomato that the tomato factories use.
We have the local tomato and we have what we call the Navrongo tomato. The local tomato is about 15 cedis per kg, and then the Navrongo tomato is about 27 cedis per kg. But the increase in price that we're experiencing, okay, has been from 13 cedis to 15 cedis per kg, compared to 13 cedis to 22 cedis per kg on the local tomato. Now it's hovering around 15 cedis. And this is because we were able to produce tomatoes in Via, Tamni, Tono, in the upper regions, and we are now bringing it down.
Of the Navrongo type?
Yes. We are now bringing it down south to stabilize the market. So yes, tomato prices are going up, but it is not where we want.
So currently, as tomato self-sufficiency, is it 50%?
Nowhere near.
We are still about 42%.
We are, if you look at
base self-sufficiency for tomato.
The tomato currently we are about 27%.
So tomato is 27, sorry. Is onion that's 42. Tomato is 27.
27. This year we want to move to 518,000 metric tons.
Which will be about 35%.
Yes.
It's not even 40.
But you see, to bring back the tomato farmers in Bono regions, to incentivize them to go back to tomato farming, Begro, Volta region, to incentivize the tomato farmers in Ada to be able to produce with the improved seeds that we have, to utilize all the irrigation schemes up north, to be able to do all year tomato farming. It's something that you cannot achieve those targets overnight. And that is why we have set out 518,000 in 2024, 666 in 2025, 915 in 26, 1.2 million in 27, and then 1.5 million in 28. Don't forget that the base targets are also not static. Okay,
because the consumption will increase.
But Ghanaians consume more tomato per capita than Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Because most of our foods are made of tomato.
Wonderful. And then the population is also increasing. So our base targets are not.
Let me deal with onion before I come to the PFD 2.0. This is a City Breakfast Show. It's 5 minutes to 8. My guest is Minister for Food and Agriculture, Bane Champong, inviting farmers, schools, groups to take part in the PFD 2.0, which was launched. And he says it's going to help increase food production. He talks about the major issues: production, distribution, pricing, irrigation, import substitution, value addition. Onion is interesting because last 2 months, when the Nigerians did their coup and there was a ECOWAS sanction, our people were struggling because we still depend on Niger for onions. When you were being vetted, you were very passionate and said you don't understand why we should be importing onions from Niger. Now that you've been in office for 10 months, has there been a reduction in import of onions? Because even within the past couple of months, the women were still complaining that their trucks were getting stuck. So we are still importing a lot of onions, aren't we?
Yes, we are importing onions. The plan for onions, tomatoes, and pepper is to get rid of that embarrassing tag that we have on our head within 2 years. There's no way we can get it done within a year, and definitely we can get it done in 10 months. So we have set that target for 3 years. And if you look at the current onion prices, yesterday I was on the market to confirm this myself. We are seeing onion prices for the first time at 17.77 cedis per kg in January. Okay, in January, tomatoes are 17. As are now, onion. I'm talking about onion. 17.77 cedis per kg. Today is 16.75 per kg. It's dropped by a cedi per kg. So my point is that the production that we catalyzed last year, that we're bearing the fruits this year, it's not enough to get us where we want to get to. But we have been able to demonstrate in 2023 that the strategy that we have embarked on will work. And we are beginning to see slight drop in the prices of onions. I mean, at this time of the season, you should see quite a bit of onion, because onion is really a dry season crop.
So that's Minister for Agriculture, Dr. Brian Achampong, who is MP for Ebitifi, speaking to Bernard Avila on the City Breakfast Show. In fact, the full interview is tonight on The Point of View on Citi TV at 9 p.m. You want to stay tuned in and watch that at home. But that's it for tonight's edition of Eyewitness News. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. I did this with Akosia Oche. Production by Kwabna Wilson, Beverly London, and Sami Wiafi, with support from Chris Esima. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. New media support from Edwin Kwakofi. We return tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you and good night.